How tragic was Yao Wanhuo's ending? That brutal scene left Xiao Yan and Yao Lao trembling all over. In the original story of Battle Through the Heavens, Yao Wanhuo was the Grand Elder of the Yao Clan. His cultivation had reached the peak of the Six-Star Dou Saint level, and he was also a 9th-tier profound pill alchemist. He possessed the Nine Serene Wind Flame, ranked 10th on the Heavenly Flame ranking, and his status was second only to the clan leader, Yao Dan. He was truly one of the main pillars holding up the Yao Clan. When Xiao Yan and Yao Lao arrived to attend the Yao Clan's alchemy ceremony, the narrow-minded punishment elder, Yao Wangui, publicly humiliated them. Xiao Yan struck back forcefully and beat Yao Wangui until he had no power to resist. At the critical moment, Yao Wanhuo appeared in time to mediate. He knew very well that Xiao Yan's current strength was formidable and that his foundation was unfathomable. Since Yao Wanhuo had always handled matters fairly, he immediately punished Yao Wangui severely, ordering him into seclusion for 100 days and cutting off 3 years of cultivation resources. In doing so, he gave Xiao Yan and Yao Lao enough respect and temporarily resolved the conflict between both sides. During the alchemy competition of the Yao Clan ceremony, Yao Wanhuo competed on the same stage as 𝐁𝐓𝐓𝐇, the Soul Clan spy hidden within the Yao Clan, as both attempted to refine a 9th-tier profound pill. Yao Wanhuo's alchemy foundation was deep, and his techniques were exquisitely refined. However, 𝐁𝐓𝐓𝐇 secretly possessed the support of a subflame of the humiliated devouring flame, giving him an overwhelming advantage. Because of this, Yao Wanhuo was forced into a disadvantage from beginning to end. At that time, he had no idea that a deadly trap capable of destroying the entire Yao Clan had already been quietly laid by the Soul Clan. Not long after the alchemy ceremony ended, the humiliated devouring flame led 4 7-star Dou Saints and a large number of Soul Clan experts to seal off the entire Yao realm. They cut off every possible route for outside reinforcements and pushed the Yao Clan into absolute desperation. In that moment of crisis, Yao Wanhuo immediately reunited with the clan leader, Yao Dan, and activated the Heavenly Medicine Formation, an inheritance the Yao Clan had preserved for 10,000 years. They drew upon the pill essence accumulated by the clan over thousands of years, and forcibly summoned the remnant soul of the Yao Emperor to assist them in battle. The Nine Serene Wind Flame in Yao Wanhuo's palm surged wildly. Towering flames swept across the entire Medicine Mountain as he risked his life to resist the Soul Clan's ferocious assault. Unfortunately, the Soul Clan had planned this for a long time. Their battle strength was overwhelming, and their attacks came endlessly, mixing illusion and reality. The power of the Yao Emperor's remnant soul was rapidly consumed, and the great formation began to crack inch by inch. Several Yao Clan elders fell one after another, and the entire clan's defensive line completely collapsed. Yao Dan stared in shock at the shattering formation, as though he had realized something terrifying. In the next instant, he suddenly appeared below. With a wave of his sleeve, he grabbed dozens of young members of the Yao Clan into his hand and shouted, "Yao Clan elders, self-destruct and destroy the space. We can sacrifice ourselves, but we must leave behind seeds of our bloodline for the Yao Clan." Hearing Yao Dan's heart-wrenching roar, many powerful Yao Clan experts in the sky trembled. Faced with the choice between the destruction of their clan and sacrificing themselves to preserve their bloodline, they chose the latter without hesitation. Brilliant light suddenly erupted from the bodies of the Yao Clan experts in the sky. Their dou qi became violently unstable at that moment. When 𝐁𝐓𝐓𝐇 saw this, his expression changed. They are actually going to self-destruct. With so many powerful experts self-destructing at once, even the sealed space might be torn open. But at this time, the humiliated devouring flame had transformed into countless devouring spirits and had no time to pay attention elsewhere. You want to escape right under the eyes of my Soul Clan? It won't be that easy. Seeing this, 𝐁𝐓𝐓𝐇 quickly took out a scroll from his storage ring and crushed it. The scroll transformed into a flaming passage, and several figures flashed out from within. "Hee, Yao Dan. I never expected that when we met again, you would have fallen into such a miserable state." As the dark figures stepped out of the passage, violent and chilling auras rippled across the sky. The true experts of the Soul Clan had finally moved. Yao Dan suddenly raised his head, his eyes locking onto the 2 old men at the front. "Hun Jing, Hun Yan. 2 of the Soul Clan's 4 demon saints have come at once. The Soul Clan truly thinks highly of my Yao Clan. Hearing Yao Dan's low, furious voice, the leading old man smiled faintly. Yao Dan, your Yao Clan's alchemy skills are still somewhat useful to our Soul Clan. If you agree to become our subordinate clan, perhaps your bloodline can still be preserved. Yao Dan replied coldly. My Yao Clan would rather spill every last drop of blood than submit to the Soul Clan and live like cowards. In that case, kill them all. The old man was not surprised by Yao Dan's answer. He waved his hand lightly and gave the order. Leave no survivors. As soon as his words fell, the Soul Clan experts behind him revealed vicious expressions. With a shout of acknowledgement, they surged downward like a black tide. Facing the assault of the Soul Clan experts, the light around one Yao Clan elder suddenly brightened to its limit. A violently destructive energy then exploded in midair. With the first Yao Clan expert's self-destruction, the determination of countless clan members seemed to be ignited. The light within the bodies of many powerful experts rapidly intensified before they also exploded one after another. Under the force of these explosions, the space that had been sealed finally began to twist. Tiny cracks slowly appeared. Seeing the changes in space, joy flashed through Yao Dan's eyes. Yet beneath that joy was a pain so deep it could not be hidden. Who could have imagined that the Yao Clan, which had still been peaceful not long ago, would now be filled with endless death and bloodshed? After Yao Dan's roar, even more Yao Clan experts detonated the Dou Qi within their bodies without hesitation. In the sky, Hun Jing let out a cold snort. With a wave of his sleeve, monstrous black qi surged out like lightning, transforming into a giant hand that hurled away the Yao Clan experts who were trying to self-destruct in a specific area. In this way, the explosions elsewhere became meaningless sacrifices. Seeing Hun Jing interfere, Yao Dan roared, Wanhuo. Not far away, Elder Wanhuo, covered in blood, immediately charged forward after hearing the call. Behind him followed several powerful Yao Clan elders. The Dou Qi within their bodies had already begun to boil completely. I'll stop them. Seeing this, Hun Shuzi's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Elder Wanhuo. With a wave of both hands, he alone dragged Elder Wanhuo and the others into the battlefield. Seeing even Wanhuo and the others being restrained by the Soul Clan experts, the fury in Yao Dan's eyes burned even stronger. Damned Soul Clan! His gaze swept rapidly across the surroundings and finally stopped on Xiao Yan nearby. In the next instant, his figure moved and appeared before Xiao Yan. He spoke urgently. Xiao Yan, the Yao Clan's experts will self-destruct to tear open a spatial crack and create a chance for you to escape. This old man has never begged anyone in his life, but this time, I beg you. Help my Yao Clan preserve a trace of its bloodline. Xiao Yan's gaze fell on Yao Dan's bloodshot eyes, and his heart could not help but grow heavy. But at this moment, he also had to rely on the Yao Clan's strength to break through the sealed space. Therefore, he had no choice but to agree. Clan leader Yao Dan, I will do my best. The Shenong elder, who had flown over, sighed softly. Old friend, I will also do my best to help. Prepare yourselves. I will stop Hun Jing and Hun Yan. The other elders of the Yao Clan will help you tear open the space. As soon as Yao Dan finished speaking, he stomped down fiercely and shot into the sky like a meteor. While Yao Dan fell into a fierce battle with Hun Jing and Hun Yan, Yao Wanhuo pushed the fire around his body to its absolute limit. Alone, he blocked the powerful enemy Hun Shuzi and fought him to the death. The Nine Serene Wind Flame transformed into a roaring storm that swept across heaven and earth, but Hun Shuzi was skilled in strange soul techniques and secretly continued to erode Yao Wanhuo's soul origin. After several brutal exchanges, Hun Shuzi seized an opening and pierced through Yao Wanhuo's Dou Saint body with a single strike. In that desperate situation, Yao Wanhuo used the last of his strength to drive the Nine Serene Wind Flame into self-destruction, hoping to drag his enemy down with him. However, he was directly swallowed completely by the Nihility devouring flame. His body instantly turned to ash, and his soul, together with the Nine Serene Wind Flame that had accompanied him for many years, was devoured and refined by Hun Shuzi. Not even a trace of his remnant soul remained. Looking across the entire story, Yao Wanhuo spent his life wholeheartedly protecting the survival of the Yao Clan. Yet because of the destined war between the ancient clans and the Soul Clan, he became a sacrifice of the chaotic era and met a tragic end in which both his body and soul were destroyed. How terrifying was the 8-colored fire lotus Xiao Yan condensed inside the Yao realm. It blasted a 7-star Dou Saint of the Soul Clan until he had no power to fight back. In the latest storyline of Battle Through the Heavens, Xiao Yan brought Yao Lao back to the Yao Clan. His strength had not only reached the 5-star Dou Saint level, but he also possessed 6 of the most heaven-defying heavenly flames. However, after the Yao Clan's alchemy ceremony came to an end, the clan encountered an unprecedented crisis. The reason was that 𝐁𝐓𝐓𝐇 urgently needed to gather all of the ancient jade fragments left behind by the ancient Emperor Tuo Shi. To help 𝐁𝐓𝐓𝐇, the humiliated devouring flame had already wiped out the Spirit Clan and the Stone Clan. The Yao Clan became his next target. Therefore, after the Yao Clan ceremony ended successfully, the humiliated devouring flame personally descended upon the Yao Clan. To prevent any survivors from escaping, he sealed the entire Yao Clan space the moment he appeared. Xiao Yan and Yao Lao were trapped inside as well. They were then hunted by Hun Yan, a 7-star Dou Saint of the Soul Clan. To escape with Yao Lao, Xiao Yan had no choice but to use his hidden trump card, the Annihilation Fire Lotus. But at that moment, the fire lotus in his hand was only formed from 6 heavenly flames. Its power was not enough to break through the spatial barrier created by the humiliated devouring flame. The raging flame storm that swept in every direction was forcefully suppressed by Hun Yan. Seeing Hun Yan remain completely unharmed, Xiao Yan's expression changed slightly. The strength of a late 7-star Dou Saint was simply too terrifying. The Shenong elder said solemnly, "That old fellow's aura is a little unstable. It seems your attack just now did injure him somewhat. But if you want to heavily wound him, it is still not enough." Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded. He looked toward Hun Yan, who was sneering in the distance, then took a deep breath and spoke in a low voice. "Senior Shenong, Yao Tian, lend me the heavenly flames inside your bodies for a while." The Shenong elder and Yao Tian were both startled when they heard this. However, at such a critical moment, they had no time to ask questions. The Shenong elder waved his hand, and the medicinal herb staff in his grasp was handed over to Xiao Yan. After hesitating briefly, Yao Tian also quickly spat out a cluster of deep brown flame. It was the Gui Ling Earth Flame, ranked 13th on the Heavenly Flame ranking. Xiao Yan held the staff in one hand and seized the Gui Ling Earth Flame with the other. His crystal-like body emitted a strange glow in that instant. Xiao Yan already possessed 6 heavenly flames. If these 2 flames were added, then the fire lotus he created would be formed from 8 different heavenly flames. The power of such a lotus would undoubtedly be terrifying. Just as Xiao Yan began fusing the 8 heavenly flames into the Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus, Hun Yan, who had been delayed by the Northern King, sensed what was happening. His gaze locked onto the vortex in Xiao Yan's palm, and the corner of his eye twitched involuntarily. Even he felt threatened by that power. Hun Yan struck out with a fierce palm and sent the Northern King flying. Then his figure moved, charging straight toward Xiao Yan. Seeing this, Yao Lao shouted, "Stop him!" Streams of Dou Qi shot out one after another. However, Hun Yan did not even bother looking at such attacks. With a sweep of his sleeve, he scattered them all. He sneered coldly. "A group of juniors wants to escape from the hands of my Soul Clan? Dream on." In the next instant, he appeared in front of Xiao Yan. His dark fingers were like the fingers of the Grim Reaper as they grabbed toward Xiao Yan. The sharp force of the attack slammed heavily into Xiao Yan's body. 5 wounds immediately appeared across the dragon scales on Xiao Yan's body, and fresh blood continuously seeped out from them. If not for the defense of the Dragon Phoenix bone armor, that one attack alone might have severely injured him. At this moment, Xiao Yan had already been sent flying by Hun Yan's strike. But as he flew backward, a cold smile flashed through his eyes. "Explode." The moment his voice fell, Hun Yan's pupils suddenly shrank. His gaze froze on the 8-colored fire lotus slowly rotating before him. Before he could react, dazzling light erupted from within the fire lotus. Countless beams of light filled with destructive power shot out densely from inside. After the beams burst forth, a devastating fluctuation followed immediately. In the sky, the dazzling radiance was like a blazing sun. Its intense light almost covered the entire Yao realm. An indescribably destructive shockwave spread across the sky in all directions. The terrifying heat was so extreme that even the mountain ranges began to melt. The destructive impact continued for a long time before gradually fading. Then a black figure fell from the center of the explosion and crashed heavily into the ground. Xiao Yan looked over and could faintly see Hun Yan, whose entire body was wrapped in black qi. His aura was far weaker than before. It seemed that, at the very least, he had been severely injured. Seeing this, the Shenong elder and the others drew in a sharp breath. It was almost unimaginable that Xiao Yan could force a late 7-star Dou Saint to such a state. After returning the life flame and the Gui Ling earth flame, Xiao Yan said urgently, "Leave quickly. The space over there has been torn open by the aftermath." His own condition was also extremely poor. The consumption of the 8-colored fire lotus had far exceeded his expectations. Hearing his words, everyone finally noticed that a spatial crack several dozen feet wide had appeared at the center of the destructive shockwave. Xiao Yan urged them again. "Hurry!" Then he took the lead and charged toward the spatial crack. On the ground, Hun Yan's face twisted ferociously as he roared, "Stop them!" Hun Jing, who was fighting Yao Dan, saw this scene, and his expression instantly turned dark. He had never expected Xiao Yan to actually force Hun Yan back. Just as he prepared to withdraw and stop them, Yao Dan seemed to sense his intention. A crazed and fierce smile appeared on his face, and the Dou Qi within his body suddenly became violently unstable. "Xiao Yan, thank you." When his Dou Qi reached its peak, Yao Dan looked toward Xiao Yan, who was leading Yao Tian and the others into the spatial crack. At last, a relieved smile appeared on his face. In the next instant, a destructive explosion no weaker than the previous 8-colored fire lotus rang out once again within that blood-soaked space. Several hundred miles away from the Shenong mountain range, a spatial crack suddenly appeared. One miserable figure after another rushed out from within and landed on a mountain peak. Only then did everyone finally release a breath of relief. They had finally escaped that place of death. After reaching the Dou Saint level, every single star of cultivation represented a difference as vast as heaven and earth. The power formed by Xiao Yan's 8-colored fire lotus had clearly surpassed ordinary Tian-class Dou techniques. That was why he could cross 2 levels and heavily injure Hun Yan. If Xiao Yan were given enough time to prepare it properly, the entire Central Plains might be reduced to nothing because of it.